Let's take a look at panel number 2, the Creation panel. In this panel, we have the option New Branch. To create a new branch, we must have a selected object that can be an object from an existing branch or an independent object. When we click on the New Branch option, we create a new branch with its entire structure, collection of objects that go inside the branch, and the object that generates the Blocksurfaces surface with geometry nodes. It is important to name the new branches. The names are used to order the objects within the branches, and it is important that they are well named. Let's see how we create a new branch with another selected object. We give the new branch a name. Click OK. Now with the branch created, we can use the E shortcut to extrude, which actually generates the new object, to expand the branch. We can also create new branches from a selected object within another branch. Let's use the duplicate branch option, and if we have a selected branch and click duplicate, it duplicates the branch we have selected. We can duplicate several branches. For this, we select one or more objects from the branches we want to duplicate. If the branches have hierarchies within each other and we want to maintain them, we have the parent option. If parent is active, it will duplicate the branches, maintaining the hierarchies. If we deactivate the parent option in duplicate, it will duplicate all the branches that have selected objects, but it will not maintain the hierarchy. Here we can see it again. Let's duplicate the whole arm with the different fingers, nails, which are different branches, maintaining the hierarchies with the parent option active. Ready, we have a new arm ready to place wherever we want and quickly explore new options for our character. Let's check that the hierarchies have been maintained, and we can articulate the hand. Let's see how we can duplicate part of a branch. With the duplicate selected part of a branch option, we can select the objects we want to duplicate from the part of the branch we are interested in and relocate it. With the Separate Selected Parts option, we can make two separate branches from the part we have already selected. We can also use the Parent option, which makes the new branch continue with the hierarchy from the part of the original branch it was separated from. If we uncheck it, it will separate the part of the branch into a new one and make it independent from the original. Let's see the duplicate branch option in desired position. With the keyboard shortcut of the letter K, we can duplicate the branch we have selected in the position where the cursor is when we click the letter K. The new branch will adjust with its Z-axis looking at the surface. We can adjust the size of the duplicated branch, and the duplication will be in that size of the selected branches. The orientation with which the new branch will be inserted on the surface will be with the Z-axis facing upwards. So when we want to have a surface with a branch oriented towards the surface, we must adjust the Z-axis so that it stays facing up, and when pressing the K shortcut key, it will be the Z-axis that aligns to the surface. We can also change the size of the branch to insert in the panel. If we want a branch size to be adjusted according to the specified scale value, then if the branch we have selected is duplicated, it will duplicate the size we want. In the default scale box, we can mark the scale that the new branch will be created when nothing is selected. When nothing is selected by default, a sphere will be created at the size specified in size. Here you can see that when we duplicate a branch, the Z-axis will be adjusted to the surface. We can also move along the surface by pressing Ctrl so that it aligns to the surface when moving the branch to reposition it more comfortably. When we have a selected object that is not from any branch, a new branch will be created with that object inside the branch and at the size we have selected plus the modifier we have in the size panel. So if we have a cube, it will create a cube. If we have a sphere or any other selected object, that will be the one it will use to create the new branch. Look how when creating with a new object using the K shortcut key, Snap is activated and we can go creating along the surface the following branch objects. Here we also have buttons to change the size values by preset intervals adjusted in the amount we want to add or subtract. Let's see how we can duplicate a branch in position with hierarchy. We are going to duplicate this finger. As you can see, when I try to duplicate in position, if the initial branch has a parent, it will not position correctly. I am going to remove the parenting of this finger with the hand, so that it works correctly. The finger no longer follows the hand. The branches we want to duplicate should not have a parent. We adjust the size to the one we want duplicated. If we have it parented, we can duplicate the branch with its hierarchies. The orientation, as you know, the z-axis will be the one that aligns with the surface. We can readjust this so that when we insert it stays in the correct direction. We remove the hierarchy within the branch with the shortcut, to be able to move only the object we want to align. We can change the view mode to see the axis better. We align the z-axis as we want and restore the hierarchy within the branch with the P shortcut. And we already checked that when inserting that branch it is placed with the new orientation we gave to the z-axis. We can change the size of the selected branch to duplicate it to the desired size. We can go to the size panel to adjust the size we want scaled with respect to the selected one. By leaving the last one created as selected, if the scale is different from one it will go slightly reducing with each new duplicate. The best option is usually to keep the scale at 1 and thus duplicate at the same size, and it is easier to modify the scale of the selected one. If we remove the parent option we will duplicate in position only the branch without hierarchies. Let's try with this other part. As you can see, it aligns the z-axis, and we can adjust it so that the following duplicates are with the alignment we want. Let's see again with parent activated, it will duplicate the hierarchies that follow the selected branch. Let's try with more fingernails. Let's see how this new target option in the Creation panel works. We are going to create the helper object here that will be the target. If I select these 3 branches for example, I go to the first object of the branch that has hierarchy by using the left arrow keyboard shortcut to position myself on the first object of each branch. I select the object, the target will be the active object, and by clicking on the target to active option, it will make the objects look at the target object. This way, when I move the target object I can adjust the branches. The alignment will be done by orienting the y-axis of the objects towards the target. Let's create another target object for these other branches. It can be any object. We select the parent object of each branch. We select the last one so that the active one is the target. And now we can adjust all those branches by moving the target object. Once we have the desired position on the branches, we can apply the target so there are no more modifications. We can apply it to all the scene objects that have a target or just to the selected ones. To quickly select, we click on Select Destination Objects and it will select the objects that affect that target. Now the target no longer affects the branches. In this other one, it still influences the branches because we only applied it to the selected ones. Now if we apply it to this one, we have all the branches in the desired position. Now we can clean up and select all the objects that have been helpers and delete them. Let's see the Delete Objects and Branches option in Blocksurface. It is one of the most important parts because a lot depends on the proper functioning of the add-on. When we delete an object in the standard way in Blender, it will leave a gap that will make it work badly. Here we have a gap in the names that will make it work badly. When I go to create a new object, it will try to create the object with the number next to the corresponding one and then it will spoil the tool's shape. So when I want to delete an object so that the object names are recalculated, I must do it from the Blocksurfaces command. From here or by pressing X to simply delete an object and keep the objects well numbered and ordered to be able to work. Another very important thing, the same happens with branches. This is an entire branch. If I want to delete an entire branch, I must do it with this command. What we achieve using this operator is that it will also delete the object that generates the surface. This is the object that has the geometry nodes and that generates the surface from some objects to others. So if I delete it from the Blocksurface command by pressing X, I delete it from here, we will achieve that it deletes all the objects in the collection plus the extra object that has generated that surface from one to another. And something very important for the addons operation is to have this option marked. This option of purging unused objects should always be marked. It is not marked by default because this will cause, when we delete an object with these commands, the unused objects in the scene to be purged. So unused objects are objects that we are not currently using in this scene and will be deleted. To prevent any lost object you may have in the scene, the user must activate this option and know that from then on, when an object is deleted with the addons commands, it will clean up unused objects in that scene. So it is advisable when making a character to always have this option activated to delete unused objects. If we do not have this option activated, when an object is deleted it will leave orphan objects, and this will surely conflict with the new branch's names and do strange things in the generated surfaces. So the most interesting thing is to delete with this option activated, so that when I delete some object it cleans up the rest of the objects in the scene and does not give us conflicts from names that already exist. Work in a clean scene to use block surfaces with the character and simply then continue with the sculpting, retopo, etc. Export it to another file or wherever we want, but not have other objects here that we can accidentally delete when removing with block surface.